Very much indeed for the welcome this morning, and goodness me, didn't John's talk bring back memories for myself. The one good thing about the conference agenda that I've now found with UKIP is that we actually tackle the issues that really bother our residents. Now, whether you live in Ponteland, whether you live in Eastleigh, whether you live in Chester, or whether you live in Cranley, near to where I am in Surrey, regardless of whether you hold elected office or not, I can guarantee you one subject that is sure to raise your emotions and the heckles of your neighbours, friends, family members, and fellow voters. There's something that really does get your goat. And quite simply, ladies and gentlemen, it's the issue of house building and developments in our towns, in our countryside, in our villages, in our national parks, and even on our precious green belt. Nothing out there, ladies and gentlemen, is safe. And why do you and others protest? Why is concreting over the country underway on such a huge scale? Why can we seemingly not even intervene to protect our community, environments, and what, if anything, can we even begin to try and stop it? Of course, ladies and gentlemen, and I can just imagine the headlines later today, it's going to be, oh, there they are. There's UKIP trying to score cheap points, painting us as not wanting economic growth, being little Englanders, pining for the past. Ladies and gentlemen, I say to you, bring it on, because we've heard it all before, and we don't care what you say, because there's no validity in it. All of that, ladies and gentlemen, is just distraction tactics. Since what the current government do not want you to know, they don't want the electorate to recognise, and they don't even want the media to focus on. And that's the sheer scale of what is happening out there and how it is being rolled out. Now, the authors of Yes Minister, ladies and gentlemen, they would have been proud. I can just imagine, and let me try and seed that thought in your minds, the Prime Minister in the company of his civil servants announcing that having legislated for a fixed-term 5-year parliament and just making sure that he's got something to announce, something that's going to get people thinking Tory for the 2015 re-election, his great idea, house building, house building. Well, he had a bit of a problem. He forgot, conveniently forgot at the time, the existing 700,000 empty homes and the huge scale of land banking by developers, but he needed to soften the blow of his coalition government's austerity measures. And he'd had to deliver some indication of economic revival at this point in time, however tentative that might be, to give him some chance of being re-elected in 2015. Now, I put to you, ladies and gentlemen, and I put to the whole country on behalf of UKIP, that if we have house building strategy based on the building industry and consumer expenditure, not the long-term health of this country and the long-term protection of what we hold dear, there is something very fundamentally wrong. Very fundamentally wrong. Just deliver new homes becomes the political mantra, regardless of location or appropriateness. And cue to the assembled civil servants, but Prime Minister, what about the issues about transport needs, about water, about sewerage, about energy supplies, about our schools, about our NHS? We need an integrated strategy, surely, don't we? Well, unfortunately, David Cameron, in his true Bullingdon Club style, oh, ignore all of that, just build whatever and wherever, and just get on with it, and do not bother me any further with how you do it. The detail, though, ladies and gentlemen, is always with the devil, always with the devil. I'm really struggling with this, but the slides, I do apologise, it's just not working for me. Green and pleasant land. Englishman's home is his castle. Home is where the heart is. Our language, ladies and gentlemen, and our sentiments are littered with references to what we hold dear. It's our homes, it's our environment, and it's our quality of life. And I don't want, and UKIP doesn't want, and nobody wants to deny anybody their own bricks and mortar. That's not what we're saying. But what we are saying is we don't want somebody, and a government in this case, running roughshod over people's values, because it's never going to be politically popular and it's never going to be acceptable. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing around the country. Now, with true bully boy tactics, the scene has been set to deliver those words, and you're seeing them here, of David Cameron, 6th of September 2012. And in doing so, ensuring that local communities have been robbed of the power to define their own communities and their destinies and what they're going to be handing on to future generations. Now, what got us to this point, ladies and gentlemen? Well, first of all, it's central government establishing that top-down figure, 2.2 million homes, ladies and gentlemen. Hold that figure in your mind. And a time frame to deliver. A figure and a time frame uncannily akin to that set by Gordon Brown, and I'm delighted to hear John Bickley blame him for a whole lot. I'm going to hold him to account on this as well. And also the European Union via the now abolished regional spatial strategies. Then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, rip up all of those years of carefully crafted planning policies. This is real throwing the baby and the bathwater out at the same time. Got a problem. We need some set of guidance, though, don't we? So we introduced this fantastically named National Planning Policy Framework, and thereby relaxing all the rules and favouring developers to an unmitigated degree. Now, when even the Royal Institute of British Architects can be quoted as saying that the planning system is heavily skewed in favour of developers over those of the public, doesn't that tell you something, ladies and gentlemen? I think it does. Got to get the local authorities, though, on side, and got to get them to do their part. So instruct the local councils in advance to identify the housing land locations. And then, as Miranda in Call the Midwife would say, oh, golly gosh, just thought about the residents. Need to keep them happy. So instruct the local councils to undertake absolute charades, ladies and gentlemen, of housing needs consultations, and thus presenting a process that does not leave decisions with locals, but fools them into thinking that they've had some degree of input and some degree of control within the Localism Act. Well, got another thought. Better just gold plate the resident persuasion aspect. So dangle, ladies and gentlemen, the possibility of community infrastructure bribes. Oops, I didn't say bribes, did I? I meant levies. Oh, sorry about that. To address the local discontent and unhappiness. But my goodness, the oops factor was starting to develop and really starting to loom on the horizon. Quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, the local housing numbers didn't match up, and they don't match up with central government targets. The land areas are not supported by locals, and canny residents can see through the nonsense and lack of clout of their neighbourhood plans. But oh no, nothing must undermine or derail the grand house building project and that edifice. And anyway, counting council funding, the only way to make it up is with the new homes bonus pool. So how do you deal with all of these minor irritants and potentially delay issues? Easy peasy. Declare the local plans and the core strategies invalid. Instruct the local authorities to undertake fresh new housing needs exercises until they come up with the right, emphasize the right number. Finally, introduce the penalty option, final overall by the government's National Planning Inspectorate. And encourage developers to make use of this window of opportunity and get building. Short-lived and not seen through ministers' statements to appease the campaigners. Stalin, ladies and gentlemen, Stalin and the European Union, they would be proud of this, proud of it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, is anyone pleased with this? Well, I can tell you who's pleased, and that's the developers. They're in the fields of 4-leaf clover, where they're left, I might add. Now, David Cameron may well have shed his green credentials as far as energy is concerned, but a lovely green hue now hangs over this massive building project that's underway. There's a green light for thousands of new homes on the shortest possible delivery time frame, no constraints whatsoever on what is needed or what is wanted, greenfield land release right across the country, reduced or non-existent brownfield land as priority, no protection for our AONB or our green belt, no responsibility in regard to location, the floodplains as we've seen down in Somerset, massive developer profits, ladies and gentlemen, continued land speculation and garden grabbing, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, political donations from the developers and gongs for the chief executives. Gongs. I can hear, ladies and gentlemen, the PM even now saying, Diane, calm down, Diane. Green is so much last year's colour. Well, does it stand up to scrutiny, ladies and gentlemen? Does it really, house building on this scale? Translate everything, ladies and gentlemen, into demand. When even Eurostat, with the ONS and Migration Watch, all come up with the same messages. 60% of our population growth, result of immigration. They come here, they want somewhere to live. UK population projected to increase from 63 million to 70 million. 2 proposed garden cities, ladies and gentlemen, hidden away, of course. That's not going to be enough. We need probably 6. But the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, our government ministers don't want to know any of this. They don't want to know at all, and they don't want you to know. But I'll leave you with some messages, ladies and gentlemen. Labour wants 200,000 homes a year. Liberal Democrats want 300,000. Conservative Renewal Campaign Group wants 1 million. And all of that is going to happen. David Cameron, my message to you from UKIP, when you're on Desert Island Discs, having served 1 term, here you are, courtesy of Pink Floyd, sorry for my plagiarism, you throw another brick at the voter, they're going to throw it back and put UKIP in. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.